We're good?
Yep.
Okay, let's call to order Town of Basalt Planning and Zoning Commission Tuesday, October 6th, 2020 at 6:40 p.m. Roll call, please.
Okay, Bill Marin,
Yo.
Joan Keefe. Joan? Yes. Gino Rossetti,
Yes.
Eric Volzek,
Here.
Tracy Bennett,
Yes.
Bernie Grauer,
Here.
and Rob Levitt.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. And just before we go to our normal agenda items, I just wanted to flag that we had a couple folks who were interested in joining the P&Z meeting, and so they picked this one to join us, and that's Will Kennedy and Michelle Bonfils Thibault. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? And we asked people who are interested in participating in the P&Z to watch a meeting in action. And I would say that this is the first time we've had this much trouble joining Zoom. Usually it's fairly seamless, so I'm not sure what was happening here. But they're going to be listening in to our meeting today. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Bill.
Thank you very much. Okay. Our first order of business is the approval of the minutes 2A, 2B, items 2A and 2B, September 15th, 2020. Does anyone have any additions or changes to make to those minutes from that date?
No.
No? If not, do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion.
We have a first.
So
And we have, Tracy, was that you for the second?
Oh, I guess.
Okay. We have a first, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
raise your hand. So I'm not sure that Joan, can you hear us, Joan?
Yeah, you're kind of in and out with your phone for some reason.
Okay.
Now, loud and clear.
What I'm gonna do is when James gives his presentation, I'm gonna go get a little stand to put my cell phone on. So I'll do that when James starts here. So
Okay.
I have 7-0 for approval of the minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Item 3A, 563 East Silvers Drive, pre-application work session. James.
Okay, let me share my screen here for a quick second. All right. This item is a pre-application work session, and the property owners are Art and Pauline Bowles. They're considering submitting a subdivision application and request for other land use actions for the property at 563 East Cypress Drive. They developed a conceptual site plan and a concept for the property. And as the property has some constraints and challenging characteristics, staff thought a pre-application work session might be beneficial for the P&Z to provide discussion on the feedback that staff has provided, as well as about the other ideas and feedback that the P&Z members might have on the property owner's concept. The format for the work session, staff will present the site constraints and kind of conceptual site plan and how it has evolved so far, as well as staff's feedback on the site plan. And then the property owners will get a chance to provide comments and discussion. And then staff would suggest taking any public comments if there are any. Once again, this is a work session, so there's no public notice. And
We are
then,
doing public comment.
that's what I just said. And the P&Z will then provide discussion. The site subject to the work session is a 3.4 acre site. It's just to the southeast of Cypress Drive. Getting some feedback. Is somebody trying to say something? No. It's zoned R2. It currently has 3 homes on the site, and the P and Z just visited the site before the meeting here. The applicants previously received a preliminary PUD approval back in 1990 for a total of 7 lots. And I'll show you, you've got that in your packet. And so the applicants have submitted this, property owners have submitted a concept plan to staff for feedback. It's in your packet. It has evolved a bit. It included initially 10 single-family lots, and staff provided some feedback on that plan. And staff provided the feedback that staff didn't think that the access was workable due to the grade, and that they needed to reduce the number of lots to get more of a run to reduce the grade of the access, which was echoed by the fire department. And then staff also provided feedback that we thought that the initial site plan needed more usable open space and potentially a pocket park from the plan, as the initial concept generally had the open space on significant slopes. Staff also encouraged more of a variety of lots and home sizes to kind of fit the eclectic nature of the Hill District in the area. So the applicants have revised the site plan, as you saw out on site as part of the site visit. Here is the revised site plan. It's on the screen. It has kind of a more workable access. They've provided more run for the access to reduce the grade of the access road below 10%, which was acceptable to the fire district in terms of a grade. They have reduced the number of lots from 10 to 9, as you see in the site plan, and provided a bit more open space and potential for a park. The P&Z has the ability to provide feedback and direction on the feedback that staff has provided the applicant. And staff has pulled out many of the objectives that are in the master plan that could apply to the site and developing the site. We've included those in the staff memo that's in your packet. So staff would recommend the P&Z hearing any additional comments that the property owners have. They're not applicants at this point. We don't have an application. And then staff would suggest taking public comment and providing P&Z feedback on staff's discussion that we had for the applicant, as well as any other ideas or feedback that P&Z has based on their concept. It should be noted also that the range of unit sizes that the applicant is looking at are between 2,100 and 3,500 square foot. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Warren Palmer, who is the architect that's been working with the Bowles. Warren's on the phone here with us this evening to provide additional comments. Warren, do you have additional comments?
Thanks, James. I had one question that came up, is the mix of the lots, the shapes and actual square footages for what we've proposed are flexible, and right now I had 3 at roughly 9,000, 2 at 8,000, and 4 at 6,000. Is there a preferred square footage as far as the town goes? Do they prefer the smaller lots, or?
Well, I think generally town staff's direction was that smaller lots with smaller houses on them is typically consistent with the direction in the Hill District, but certainly P&Z can provide feedback if they have thoughts on that as part of their comments.
Okay, I think that just gives some direction. going forward is what that configuration might look like.
So Bill, it seems like that kind of wraps up the staff and applicant comments. Staff would suggest taking public comments at this point.
Yeah,
Okay, what I want to do is I want to just outline kind of how I'd like to see this go tonight is, first, before we take public comment, I would like the commissioners, I want to format this just like we usually do for any other application, even though this is not an application, where we allow the commissioners to have any questions that they may have remaining for the applicant or staff. Then go to public comments if there are any, and then we will end up with commissioner comments, which will be our discussion items on the memo, item 6. So first, before we do that, let's go through the commissioners and see if anyone has any comments or questions for the applicant. Rob, let's start with you. Do you have any questions of the applicant or staff?
I do not at this time.
Okay. Eric, do you have any questions of staff or the applicant?
I have a question.
You do or you don't?
Gino has a question, Bill.
Okay. Gino, I'll get to you in a minute. I'm going down the list. Bernie, do you have any questions of staff or applicant?
No, but I'd like to listen to the other questions, and then I might jump in after other counselors have commented. Or
We're not
questions.
commenting, we're just questions, yes.
I understand. I don't have any questions right now. Let's just let it go. I can put my questions in the comment period if I have
Okay,
any.
Tracy, do you have any questions of the applicant or staff?
I'm just trying to wrap my brain around the reconfiguration of entering off of Cypress into the property, and I'm following the 2 red lines. Is the road shifted more into the open space? Is that I don't know how to explain it. Is that sort of the new grade configuration?
Yes, that would be the road elongated, and what would happen is we would extend the road into that open space, but then the open space from the other side would fill in to the road, so we wouldn't lose any open space.
Okay.
We would just reconfigure to get a longer run.
You've just shifted it, is the right word sort of like down, so you can get, your grade isn't so steep? Is that what this
Yes.
is all about?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I guess that's it for now.
Okay, let's see, where are we? Joan, do you have any questions? We'll get to you, Gino, in just a sec.
My first reaction, winter, the snow load, and winter with the snow, and that's going to partly that open space just being cracked up. It's going to be so important to have a place to put it. And my second thing is, of course, I'm partial, and if you can see behind me, that's a 4x4 painting of that very barn there with the fox looking out of it. If there was any way we could preserve that, that'd be wonderful.
Okay, thank you. Gino, do you have any questions, just questions, not comments, of staff or the applicant?
I have a question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Gino.
Go ahead.
What?
Gino, can you hear us?
Bill, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank
Yeah, I
you.
can hear you. We can hear you.
The question that I have, Bill, for anybody, is that in the 1990 approved site plan, there were 3 residents, existing residents on the site. When I went to the site on Sunday, there are 3 residents on the site. are they still part of the picture, or would they just be scrubbed out?
Gino, at the site visit, we had that question come up, and the answer was that they were proposed to be removed, all three residences from the site.
Okay, so the new site plan you have recognizes that you're going to take the residents out of the picture.
That's what the applicants explained, yes. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll save my others for comments.
Okay, we'll wait for comment. Okay, now, Susan, let's open this up for public comment at 6:55 PM, if there is any.
Okay, and my phone is in use, so we'll just use some practical guidance. So we want people to email planning@basalt.net if they would like to speak, or to text 970-379-1514 if you want to speak with your name and your phone number, and then we'll call you. So we'll just wait about a minute. James, if you could kind of watch the time.
Sure.
And then we'll check.
Are you gonna check your?
I'm just gonna.
No. Okay.
You good?
Yeah, we just hit a minute.
Okay, so, I didn't get any emails and I didn't get any text except from my boss, and I don't think he wants to speak. So I think we're good. And, just a question, Joan, do I still have you on here?
You have me.
Okay, thanks. I didn't want to lose you. Okay. So I think we're ready for the next section, Bill.
Okay, so let's close public comments at 6:57 PM, and let's start out with commissioner comments, and let's start with
Did you share with Gino's-
Gino, because he had to wait so long to ask his question.
Gino, you're up.
Thank you. The obvious discussion should be, I think we should spend a good amount of time looking at the entrance off of Sopris. It's an exceptionally difficult and also dangerous intersection for both going and coming out, coming from the north, and then making that hard turn coming from out of the space onto Sopris. You cannot make a left turn onto Sopris. It's physically impossible with the car. But that's a whole thing that needs to be re-examined more than just this red line on the process. The other comment that I had, and I'm really excited about working on this project because I think that it's a great idea and it's a great thing both for Basalt and for the people, and it meets the kind of things that we have. I can just really feel it being nestled into that valley. However, I would strongly recommend that someone think about perhaps 8 lots rather than 9 for the primary purpose of opening up that the turnaround, the roundabout, so that it's you have a larger park in the center and you have an easier road network. And the way to do that would make the 8 parcels rather than 9 fatter and shorter, so that you really open it up a little bit more, and I think it could be well handled once it's inside of it. But again, I was really thrilled with looking down into the project, how nice that could be. But I think that you have to do some strong amenities for kids, because I would imagine they're young people with families, and there's no place for them to go. I'm not even sure that they should go up the hill without supervision. So I think that the green spaces, both inside the roundabout and that entrance area, should be a part of the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Gino. Joan, you already made some comments, but would you like to make some additional comments, or are you good?
I'm good. I think it's very important that ingress and egress is a little part of that, but I'm good.
All right, thank you. Tracy, do you have any comments?
Jill speaking for the owner. Can I ask a question?
Hang on a second. Who's speaking?
Jill for the owner.
Let's wait till we get done with the commissioner comments, and then I'll come back to you after we're done with this. Otherwise, I'll forget where I am.
Thank you.
All right,
thanks.
Tracy, do you have any comments to make?
Yeah, I kind of have the same feelings that Gino has, that we've got to really work on that entrance. It kind of scares me a little bit, but
Okay.
I see the vision down below. It's just getting there.
Okay, all right. Any other ones? Any other comments?
No, I'm good.
Good. Bernie, you're next.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with Gino and Tracy's concerns and comments. I think there needs to be bigger open space and more, some kind of a playground, ready, landing, a lot, for playground for younger children. And, I think probably needs to be skinnied down by a house, and that entrance made even more accessible. I'm in favor of infill, and in particular, I would like to see smaller lots and smaller houses. And if it means another house or two, I would actually like to encourage that.
All right, thank you, Bernie. Rob, do you have any comments to make?
Yes, thanks. I think the barn is going to be an issue, and obviously we'd all like to try and repurpose it if possible. There's some beautiful trees on the property, and I couldn't see a way that they were going to be preserved through the construction, but it would be nice if those blue spruces could survive or otherwise be mitigated another way. The entrance is one issue, but if we're talking about 9 lots, 12 vehicle trips per day, that's a lot of traffic added to that corner of town. I think there needs to be some sort of traffic discussion before we come up with numbers and sizes of lots. And then finally, I'd like to see a sustainability component to the development, since that was such an important part of our master plan discussions.
Thank you, Rob. Eric, do you have any comments to make?
Eric, you're muted or we lost you here.
Uh-oh. Do we
Eric,
hear
you're muted.
but not on the phone?
All right, better?
There we go.
All right.
Sorry, hopefully you hear me now.
We got you.
I echo my fellow commissioners. I pretty much agree with every point you made. I'll piggyback off of Rob. Love to figure out a way to save that barn if possible. The trees would be nice. Again, adding those sustainability factors would be great. It was great to hear that the owners have some solar already funneling into at least one of the houses. It would be nice to kind of include that for everything on site. I mentioned this to a couple of people on site too. It would be a great way to figure out a pedestrian connection into town. Not sure how feasible that is, but definitely would be nice to have a discussion about that and what we want. But the gist of the project sounds great, but I think there's some questions we'll have to overcome as we look forward to maybe seeing this down the road.
All right, thank you, Eric. Okay, let's go back to Jill. Jill, you had some comments to make from the owner's standpoint.
Well, I just was wondering about the barn. So what are the requirements to make it a historical society building, or how does that fall into the town of Basalt's responsibility? I don't know. I really don't know.
Susan, could you speak to that a little bit? Because the town of Basalt's historical guidelines are a little mushy right now.
Well, what we've done in the past is, what is in the code is commercial properties that are over a certain age that were on Midland were designated historic, and then the halfway house and the Albany barn, which is in Albany Park, those were designated by the code. And then what the code does, allows you, if you're residential, it provides for incentives to encourage people to designate property as historic. So the other property that we designated historic that's in a residential area was actually the Bob Trout, and I think his first name was Bob, which is on Sophus Drive, down west a little way, and we designated him historic and went through with him things that we needed to do to kind of bring the life of the barn to make it stable, and then we gave him some setback, I think it was minimum lot size type issues that we made the existing units on his property conforming. So typically we'll use like an expert like Susanna Reed or somebody to give us advice, but that's what we do. It's really in residential areas kind of on a case-by-case basis.
But the incentive.
Okay, so my second question is, who comes in and decides if it's a historical piece of property, and how do they handle that, and how does that affect the approval of the subdivision?
Well, the way the town code is set up is that the property owner would basically petition for the structure to be designated historic. And then the town would have the third-party consultant evaluate the merits of it being historic. You know, and the incentives that come along with the designation of the property as historic are kind of more set up for smaller subdivisions or lot splits for the most part.
Yeah, I think we might want to look more into it and see how it would work. I mean, the other way it would work is that, you know, the P&Z and Town Council, through approval of a subdivision, would try to encourage the development to incorporate the barn into the review. So that's the other way that it would happen.
Okay, so it might not delay approval, but then we would have to look at potentially incorporating that into the subdivision.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
All righty. So I have reserved my comments to the end. So I will start down my list. I think first off, the old barn is a concern of mine too. I think, you know, we're reaching sort of a tipping point in Basalt with old structures. You know, we you know, just a couple months ago, we lost Jody Rasberger's house, where I lived in that one for a while. The rectory's gonna go. And, you know, the thing is, when things like this go, people call and bitch at me, and I don't really love that. But also, I think that we're kind of in danger of losing part of the fabric of our community, and that there's just not that many left. We've lost a lot over, you know, 30-odd years I've lived here. So I think we just need to address it at some level within this subdivision. And I understand that this may need to be a PUD. Is that true, James?
Yeah, most likely due to lot size and lot width.
Okay, so that would be the mechanism for which we'd have to look at that. I also want to look at, we talked about this on site, look at the second access on the old Silver Drive Road. Just because, you know, I think that the entrance is a concern, as Gino said, and we should look at all possibilities as to what that would be. And I think we should have the town engineer, that's SGM right now, is that true?
Correct.
James?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. I think we should have SGM, who has a fair amount of traffic capacity, look at this and give us some feedback on the safety of the entrance and turning radiuses and all that type of thing. I think we need some professional help with that. I think also when it comes, my next two items are linked. Which is affordable housing designated on one lot. I think that there was some talk about lot number one being designated for affordable housing, which I support completely. But also the idea, the notion of smaller lots from our master plan, you know, from a micro housing small lot scenario should at least be looked at for this sort of thing. It may not be possible. I like Gino's idea of the bigger lot and the larger drive also, because that would do a lot of nice things, but we should at least have the option to entertain the idea of small lots and micro houses, because that has been something we've talked about a lot and never got anywhere, because there's really no place to put them, and this may be a place to put them. And I also want to second Eric's concern for a pedestrian connection. I think something like this would need a pedestrian connection to be looked at. I think that is very crucial for the future of the town. This is within walking distance of downtown and within walking distance of transit, so we should entertain how that will happen.
I agree.
That's my comment. So, James, what else do we need to do from us? Have you gotten the guidance you need on this, or is there any points that you need specific feedback for?
No, I think we've gotten the guidance we need. We'd like to just clarify and make it clear that, you know, as this is a pre-application and we don't actually have an application in, you know, this feedback is not binding, but it's helpful in terms of providing some guidance on how to move forward. So I think we have the feedback.
As long as you got what you need out of this, I think we're good. Just so, do we need to do anything to close this, or we just move on to the next item?
Well,
Yeah, but I think that Gino actually maybe wanted to add something else. Gino, did you want to?
Okay, Gino,
Yeah,
do you have any more comments?
I recognize, Susan, that this is a pre-application, but what I would like to know is, I am very excited about helping the people get this project done, because I think it could really be neat. But I would like to just, as a straw poll, ask all my colleagues
No,
if
we
they
can't
feel
do
that
a
this is a
straw poll.
project.
Yeah, no, Gino, thank you. But that's where we've got in the past is doing a straw poll, so we don't really want to go down that route. If you don't mind, it's just that we've been advised in the past not to do that, so if that's okay, I don't think we want to go there.
Okay.
Okay. I did have one other question though, in terms of diversity of housing types. I didn't hear any of you mention ADUs. Bill mentioned micro houses. Just wondered if there was, any feedback on that kind of issue?
I personally, I'm all in favor of ADUs, but these are small lots to begin with. So I think that making more small lots would be more efficacious than looking at ADUs on bigger lots. Bernie, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I feel the same way that Bill does, but I also want to strongly encourage a diversity of design in this, project. And it's interesting. It's not a lot of little clones. So I do want to, with staff suggestion, and I support it strongly, diversity and interest in the design of the dwelling units.
Bernie, that is a very good point. And as this is a PUD, there will be a design section of the PUD document. So that's a good point to talk about. Thank you. Anybody else have any additional comments to make to add to our guidance to staff?
And
No?
Bill,
Okay.
I want to
Tracy.
throw my support, I'm throwing my support behind also figuring out what we can do with that barn. If it can't be moved, can we repurpose all the stuff and create something out of it? But I don't want to lose, that's such a cool thing. If we could, whatever we can do to try to work with it. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. All right, Gino, do you have anything else to add? You look like you wanted to say something.
Bill,
No, if not, let's close this item. Thank you all very much for your participation and your time on this, especially the drawings. And Susan, let's move on to commissioner comments and staff update.
Okay, well, we thought that maybe, we have, two of the folks that are interested in joining P&Z are on, our Zoom here, and, Will and Michelle, I was just wondering if you wanted to say anything.
Well, that left turn will be a problem. Good. I know that area. That's gonna be one hell of a left turn. But that's all. Thank you for having me. And, I look forward to joining your team.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Michelle, did you want to say anything? You're on mute. And you still, you went off mute and you're on mute. But maybe Michelle isn't able to join us, but we'll see if she wants to join maybe at the end. Just in terms of updates, some of these we gave you at our last meeting. The town council tomorrow a week from tonight, has 3 land use items. One, they have the extension of the vested rights on the Stotts Mill property, and then also they have the Cunningham reinstatement of his approvals off of Durox Lane. And just so you guys know, that the big discussion at the town council meeting was whether we should allow children or not in the development. So we'll be bringing that back, but everybody was anxious to move forward with that approval. And I'm sorry I said next week, but it's actually a couple weeks after that, we'll have also an extension of the vested rights on the mini storage. Lot J is the next thing that you'll be seeing. We've been working through TRC with that. Lot J is the 14-unit apartment building over by Harry Teague's building. Before that, at your next meeting, you'll see 101 Tucker. That is Mark Elise's subdivision, and if you remember, we had a site plan review on one of the lots. He extended his approvals on that, but then sold it, and so the new owner is in with an amended site plan. We've been working really hard in Willits Town Center. You can see all the development, and all the activity that's going on out there. We've been fielding a lot of parking, issues in there and trying to get reopened parking spaces that are, over there by Tim Belinsky's property that's over by Mezzaluna, to take kind of the parking pressure off. We've been working on our regulations for how we're going to be permitting restaurants to have tents and temporary structures. And we got those finalized at the end of last week, and they're up on our website. The actual concrete barriers that are there today will be removed sometime in the end of October or November. And the Basalt Vista is the other application that is on the town council's agenda for approval. Remember, that was the one where we were changing, increasing the square footage for their 2-bedroom units. What else should I say, James?
You know, that's a good rundown on the applications. We're also dealing with quite a few kind of zoning neighbor complaints. So we're working through a lot of stuff.
And we're getting a lot of, up in Aspen, it seems people are stealing signs. That was in the paper, I think in Eagle County too. We're getting more of the sign complaints about the election signs. And you know, we work also with our other committees. So just a brief update on a couple of those. We've been working on the Albany Pool, you know, RFP, and that's marching along. Those proposals should be in at the end.
Do you have NCIS on?
October. And then in Bach, we've approved kind of a temporary rent relief program using some of our COVID funding that we got. And BPAC, which is the Basalt Public Arts Commission, has been working on their program for 2021. They're instead of doing the grants like they did before, they're going to focus them on murals. So they're working on that program, and then also some winter festival or festivals during the different seasons of the year, and they're working on their arts master plan, and it looked like they're making a little bit more good progress on their arts master plan. So that's marching along. What other committee activity should I mention, James? And we're going to be meeting with the Green Team on Monday to talk about what big project the Green Team is going to, you know, take on.
You know, probably another update relates to the river park. We're continuing to work with the developer and the CDC to try to get the closing on the river park to happen over the next couple weeks here.
And it should happen. We have to go to the Basalt Sanitation District next week, and it should happen a couple weeks after that. So that's all lining up, and we've been talking with the consultants about what the river park improvements, you know, taking those to the next level. So we've been busy.
Sounds like it. Does anybody have any commissioner comments to make? Any concerns you wish to ventilate to our staff?
Well,
No.
And Michelle, maybe one last time if you wanted to say anything.
So do we have a motion to adjourn? We have a first. Do we have a second? We have a first and a second. Any further discussion, or let's, do we want to vote on that? Let's vote. Do we need a roll call vote, Susan, or can we just hold up our fingers?
Everybody raise their hand. We can do it that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Adjourn.
Okay. 7-0. Okay, thank you. Michelle, did you want to say anything?
Thank you all very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, John.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.